Hi everybody, my name is Valerie, and today we're going to talk about how rain gardens help clean the Baltimore Harbor. Healthy Harbor and other organizations around the city have been hard at work to create a fishable, swimmable Baltimore Harbor. But in order to do that, we need to ask, where does pollution in the harbor come from? A lot of the pollution in the harbor comes from stormwater runoff. Stormwater runoff is what we call rain that falls on land and washes pollutants like car oil or lawn fertilizer into our waterways. In Baltimore, like most cities, runoff will flow into storm drains that lead directly into our streams and harbor without being cleaned by a treatment plant. Part of the problem with runoff has to do with the amount of impermeable ground surfaces in the city. If the ground is impermeable, like concrete, bricks, or blacktop, it means water can't go through. The opposite of that is a permeable surface, like dirt or sand, which can soak up water like a sponge. Before people covered the ground with concrete, rainwater would fall onto the permeable dirt and grass and get absorbed into the ground. Some of that water would be used by plants, and the rest of it would slowly trickle through the ground, which would help filter and clean the water before it flowed into a stream or lake. Now, when it rains, the concrete does not absorb any water, which can cause flooding, and the pollution the water picks up from the concrete doesn't get filtered out. So how can we clean stormwater runoff before it gets to the harbor? One of the ways of doing that is by building rain gardens, like the ones at the Science Center by Professor Trashwell in Canton, or here at Pierce's Park. Pierce's Park is a little waterfront park by the power plant in the aquarium. It has 4 rain gardens, but this one here is the biggest of them all. A rain garden is a garden specifically built to absorb and filter stormwater runoff. The bowl shape helps to hold the rain, which gets absorbed into the ground over time. And underneath the plants, a rain garden has different layers of permeable substrate to help filter out as much pollution as possible. But can dirt really help to clean the water? Let's do an experiment to find out. The water in this jar will represent our polluted runoff. Now let's add a few things to represent that pollution. First, I'll add some vegetable oil to represent the oil that can leak onto the ground from cars. Next, I'll add some dirt that could represent sediment coming from a construction site, making the water cloudy. And finally, we'll add some plastic beads to represent trash. Now I'll build a rain garden model by filling this bottle with layers of permeable substrates that might be found in a real rain garden. First, I'll add some loose rocks. Then a layer of sand. Now we put some dirt on top for plants to grow in. And finally, we add some mulch. Remember, rain gardens do 2 things. 1, absorb and slow the flow of water. And 2, filter pollution out of water. So let's see what happens when I pour our polluted runoff into our rain garden model. This is what came out the bottom of the rain garden model. So now I'm going to pour it back into the original jar. Here's how much water we started with, and this is what came out of the rain garden model. So our rain garden absorbed about 50% of the water. And if we compare the color of the water before and after, we can see the water is much clearer after being filtered through our rain garden. You can experiment with different kinds or amounts of substrate to see what filters the water the best. Some types of pollution, like bacteria and fertilizer from people's lawns, are invisible, but rain gardens can help filter those out too. Plants can prevent erosion and absorb and filter even more water. And as an added bonus, a rain garden creates a beautiful habitat for local birds and pollinators. We recommend growing plants that are native to Maryland. Of course, your rain garden doesn't have to be this big to make a difference. Rain gardens can be built at your school or in your front yard. Or if you can't build a rain garden, growing any type of garden or even planting in tree pits is a great way to take action for a cleaner, greener city. By replacing impermeable concrete with rain gardens and other green spaces, we can help create wildlife habitats, beautify our neighborhoods, and get even closer to a swimmable, fishable Baltimore Harbor.